Yes. Finally, Pastor Cal has finally. I be so anxious for the professionals to come in, step in, and they just be at the right moments. And I'm like, yes, check them, get them in check. Yes, let them know. Let them know how to do this, Pastor Cal. Like, I absolutely love Pastor Cal. If you've seen any of my recaps before, hello, what's good? How y'all are doing? I'm your girl Ash. If you are new, welcome to Ash Recaps. I'm your TV bestie. You know, that one that you call, gossip with, be like, girl, did you see that show last night? Yeah, that's me. So come in, drop in with your girl. I want you to subscribe to this channel, bang the bell so you get notified whenever I drop these good old videos. And of course, you gotta hit that good old likey. You gotta hit that like button. Help me get this pushed out to as many people as possible. People like you who wouldn't mind seeing, some good old chit chat for these couples, because y'all ain't doing but just getting my tea, my commentary, my thoughts on what's going on here. So, y'all know they have left the honeymoon. Clearly, they left the honeymoon as of last week, and they started to move in with each other. And so basically, we started to seeing the rest of the move-ins. And then as well, Pastor Cal comes and visit all the couples. And of course, from first off the honeymoon, the move-ins, like, some of these couples are like really going through it. Like, some couples are like, we sitting here like, so y'all gonna be together or not? Like, is this decision day for y'all or not? Are we already getting a divorce or not? Like, so let's go get all into it. I do. It's just me. It's just your girl. I can handle all of it though. I can handle all of it. It's always my intention to try to bring in some more people in, but it's okay. It's all right. It's cool. So matter of fact, if you have a channel and you just happen to be watching this and you want to possibly do a collab, we can figure out how we could do a collab together talking about these couples. Definitely let me know. Hit me down there in the comment section. Let me know what's up. Hit me up on Instagram. All that good old info to get in contact with me and to keep up with me is down there in the description box. So y'all make sure y'all check that out. So Nicole and Chris, y'all know, like, Nicole and Chris have the best foundation right now. They are really basically, if it was competition, they have the best marriage right now, just period, just all together. So they've moved forward and started the dogs. They got the situations with the dog straight, where basically Nicole's dog is gonna like be with her dad. He's gonna hold down that fort because they can only have two dogs in the apartment, and his dog is gonna be in the apartment. So even though they are both like fairly into their dogs and love their dogs, she ultimately made that sacrifice due to his emotions and his big feelings about not having to basically possibly separate from the dogs be separated from him, whatever. We talked about that big old feelings, yesterday. So not yesterday, but last week. Y'all know what I mean. So y'all know after last season, the talks of like dogs, like low-key gives me anxiety. I don't know about y'all, but I be having anxiety. So the thought of them meeting, and then, because like boom, like for one, she met them first before the dogs ended up actually meeting. She met his dogs. They seemed to take to her well. One of the dogs is clearly in heat because that thing was humping away. And it's just letting Nicole know, like, I'm ready. Like, if this what the dog is doing, this what the dog see, we can go on into this. Like, let's go. I am ready. So the dogs meet, they bring the dogs together to a dog park. I know that they were both like so already anxious about how the dogs were going to react to each other. And they kind of like really didn't even pay each other like no mind. One of his dogs just seemed really chill. Like she gets up, goes, chills in the corner, and that's just kind of that. So hey, if they're not paying no mind to each other, I guess, we can say that's a good thing. They're not growling at each other, giving each other negative energy. So, for them, that's like, all right, boom, like we're off to a good start. So they moved into the apartment, whatever. And they get to, they've already been having like these good, tough, really just getting into these conversations with each other. And another big, tough conversation with them was the fact that, both of their leases are actually up around the same time. But it's time that he basically has to go ahead and give his, if you're moving out, you have to give them 60-day notice that, you're going to be moving out. So it's time for him to like basically do that. And the reason why he basically wants to go ahead and give them notice that one, he's not even, basically, no, he's not even moving out, basically. He was basically saying to Nicole that he thinks that basically at the end of the being that they're at least are going to be out by the end of this process, basically, he feels like to be safer than sorry, they need to go ahead and at least lease their places for at least like 9 months, like a short-term lease or whatever or whatnot, right? Now, I'm like, wait, what? This is where that mindset stuff plays in that unnecessarily people aren't understanding and people aren't getting. Not even just the fact of no, we know that this is going to work. At the same time, when you have a positive mindset and you go in with good, and not even necessarily going in with good intentions, but you go in speaking already what is, then you don't, it's not a matter of, well, we should just extend this short-term lease so that just in case things don't work out. No, let's take just in case off the table. This is going to work out. We're going to work. And at the end of this, we're going to go ahead and push forward. We're going to go ahead and end our leases because at the end of this, we're going to go forward and we're going to go ahead and start looking into a place for ourselves. And he's like, I just don't feel a need to rush. And are you kidding me? Nicole's like, yeah, but no, I think that that's setting us up for failure. I think that basically, that puts us in a predicament of dating each other and having to make time for each other. Yeah, it's completely all wrong. It's completely all wrong. And I'm glad Pastor Kyle was, that it came up, in their conversations with it being so fresh. It should have came up. It should have came up because, they are already having these tough conversations. So why not let him know this now new possible issue that could be arising? And I get it because it's kind of just like somebody does end up having to give, because like other than that, like what common ground do you come to? You're a married couple. What common ground are you going to come to if he's adamant that we're not going to move, that we shouldn't move in, right? That basically we should wait to kind of see. It feels like a yes. He's just like, let's basically make sure so that neither one of us are homeless at the end of this process. No, that just might mean that y'all might have to take a short lease together, live together, or realize that we're going to try to make this work so that, because we got to find some place to live. Like, I get Pastor Kyle, at the end of the day, you need to move forward in this like you are going to be married forever. So the idea of, oh, well, let's keep our places for an extended 9 months just in case we don't know what's going to happen at the end, take that all off the table. Take it off the table. And then if you're already have that mindset and you're already going in that this is going to work, there would be no need for the what if. There'll be no need for we should just do this just in case. I agree with that. Nicole agrees with that. Pastor Kyle agrees with that. But Chris is just not there. And he's just like, whatever. And Nicole just went along with it. Nicole just went along with it. And I mean, that's why I'm like, as far as like, what I don't want to say that she just went along with it. She understood. I'll say she understood where he was coming from, and while she disagreed, she's just like, fine, okay. And who knows? I mean, they're right. Things could change later on. There could be but right now, granted, that's going to be at a cost. If they're not going to be extending the leases for this amount of time or whatever, because now we're thinking about like, okay, 9 months, and then technically this process ends in this amount of time. So how long does that necessarily, like, why not a 6 months? Why not even just do a month to month? I mean, either way, these short-term leases can get sort of expensive. So, I hope that this doesn't like ruin like the momentum and just like where they are. But they've been intimate. Somebody's had sex. Yeah. Whoop, 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 whoop. They've been intimate, y'all. They didn't got to the nitty gritty. And I love the fact that it was like, because, Pastor Kyle's like, wanting to make sure it's like an equal initiation, like whatever. But they're like, it freshly just happened. And it was kind of just like, we looked at each other and I love that. I love that type of love language where it's just like, and even like, not even just when you're already into it. Because sometimes when you're already into it, you kind of just know. But for them to like be just getting to know each other, not being intimate yet, and then giving that look, and then y'all both know that that's the look that it's time. Like, I love that for them. So I'm going to try not to even, focus on the fact of, Chris wanted to do this whole situation with the leases. I have no idea like what's bothering me right now in regards to this sweatshirt. Like, what is going on? But like at the end of the day, like he's like, oh, I haven't seen that rah rah part of her. She's like, well, you kind of have, like, and I guess maybe he doesn't recognize or doesn't see it as that. So I guess that could be a good thing. That very well could be a good thing. I think for all of us at the end of the day, we know that Nicole is a strong woman, and we just want to make sure that he is going to be able to speak up for himself and stand up for himself and advocate for himself in the event that the situation calls for it. So let's move on. All right, y'all. So let's get into Gina and Clint, because while Nicole and Chris are over here worried about like, okay, basically like after decision day, and like we should go ahead and just, they kind of like basically foreseeing the future about where they're gonna live. Clint and Gina can't even get past even getting into their living space together. So they go see each other's places. On this particular episode, we see Clint going to see, Gina's place, because Gina's seen Clint's place, I do believe, on the last episode. So, everything, seems to be going well. I wouldn't even say that, because I keep saying that, but they're not going well. They're not doing good. They're still in this, basically space of you said this whole, we'll call it the ginger and weight thing. They're still on this ginger and weight stuff, I feel like. Still moving off of, that energy. Even though Clint apologized, whatever, but it's still not, it's clearly a trigger or just a not easy so forth to come off of right now, especially as far as Gina is concerned, which, I get, I'm not going to, but it is kind of just like, in order to move forward, you have to move forward. So what you got to let it go. So she basically, in the midst of, seeing her place, basically tells Clint that she doesn't think that it's a good idea for them to go ahead and move. She don't think that they should move in together right now. And her basis for that is because there hasn't been any, romance between them. So how do you feel like that's going to grow not living together? Honestly, for me, it's already like an out. Honestly, I see it as already like she's trying to get an out, and instead of possibly maybe even saying really how she feels, that's where she's going about it. And I'm with Clint. She's like, oh, he's like, she's talking about them being uncomfortable around each other, base, and I'm with Clint, like, this is new for us. At the end of the day, we're married, and this is not basically going to be the first time that we're going to come into uncomfortable situations. So why not basically thrust ourselves into it as we've thrust ourselves into this marriage and just, work through it. He doesn't see it as a positive note to them to now move backwards and then grow from there by not living together. Thank you, Pastor Cal, for the backup on Clint's version, because Pastor Cal is saying, for one, like, what y'all are going through, like, one, are y'all hearing yourselves? This is kind of petty, let's move on from this. I've seen people could get past worse than this. This is something that you could get past, but let's work through and try to understand why is it that you feel like y'all shouldn't move in together. Again, what you say does not make sense in regards to y'all being married and trying to move forward, because y'all are still strangers at the end of the day. Y'all are not going to now be able to go revert back to now living, or not even back to, going to now live in a separate space when y'all are in a married space, trying to be married and trying to get to know each other. It's backwards as hell. It gets on my nerves, honestly, when these couples want to get in and, oh, we're so overwhelmed because we've been together since wedding day and blah, 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 and I just want my space. This is marriage. You get your space when you go to work. You get your space when you go and just have some girl time or some guy time. That's your space. You are now married. You don't get to just go unless that's your marriage, which again, that's not a typical marriage when you're even I'll even say this for beginning couples. That's not a marriage unless they've been together for so long and now they just now have this structure about their relationship where, all right, this is just our style. Because more than likely if they got married and now they're taking space and needed space from each other, their dynamic was already like that before they even got married. And they were okay with that dynamic. That has worked best for them. That does not work in this particular process. And he's just trying to explain that to her, like, I don't even recommend that couples separate unless there's that big of a detriment that, basically that something happened. And that's not even the case here. So the only way that we're going to move here by not moving in together is basically saying that ultimately we don't want to be together. Thank you. Thank you. Because the moment she said that, it was already given for me like, she ain't in this no more. She ain't in this no more. She don't want to be married to that man. And I don't know if it is the hang up of the whole weight thing and whatever, because even them having the argument or disagreement, I guess I'll say, with Pastor Cal about the situation, it still seemed like clearly like it's still like festering and still like bothering her. And I don't know if it's just a matter of a trust thing, because I still feel like we did not get an answer. She's just like, I just don't feel like I just can't do something that I'm just not okay with right now. What is it? Is that because it's something and you're just not saying it? It's a reason why you're not feeling comfortable. It's a reason why something is telling you that this just doesn't feel right. What effort are we really going to be making when we're not living together and you're clearly already letting us know, let Clint know that work is your major baby? So explain to me what effort of time that you're going to be willing to now put into him when you're all tired and broke down from working, putting y'all all into this business. It's different because you be still coming home to this man. And so yes, while y'all might not be like, y'all will still be in each other's space, and boom, y'all can hold each other at night. He can just cuddle up on while y'all watch TV. While you're also tired, you can talk to him about work. It is going to be a totally different space when y'all are not living together and then y'all are already having a disconnect right now. It's not going to make you want to continue to talk to him and work through it with him. Like, come on, Gina, wake up. Honestly, I'm seeing it out. That's where I'm at. And I'm with Pastor Cal. Like, what is it? What is it? Like, is this what you want to do, or is this what you're not going to do? Either way, it sounds like adamantly she's adamant about this. And I think Clint's going to go with it, for a while to see how it goes. But if they can't get on, if they're not getting to the same page, I feel like if he's not getting the result that he feels like that she's saying that would make things better for them, I can see Clint now like, nah, this ain't it. What we trying to do? Like, as we know, one thing for sure, Clint is straightforward. He's gonna say how he feel, base, and that's just gonna be that. Let's move on. Before we do though, Pastor Cal said one thing, and this is like literally why I am not in, like, even just watching some of these couples and how they move. And literally I just say that just people don't be willing to put in the work. People aren't willing to put in the work. And basically Pastor Cal put it in more words better than what I can put it. Besides that, people don't want to make, the personal sacrifice. And it is a personal sacrifice, because you can make sacrifices as a couple, but sacrifices for yourself as an individual is something else. People don't want to do that, and and this is the situation right here where her, instead of her sacrificing what she thinks is uncomfortableness or what she thinks is not right here at the time, or making a personal sacrifice of, okay, even though things, I don't feel like this man has, whatever, I'm still gonna go in and still go into this and still try to put this on a positive note despite everything that has happened. Because if you can't move past this, baby, come on, let's do that. We don't need to play this little rigmarole games of, I just don't want to move in, let's see if it works out, because no, that sounds like bullshit to me. I've been watching this stuff too long to know the bullshit when I hear it. There's nothing good that's going to come up when these couples go in and already want space and already don't want to live together, i.e. Domynique and McKinley. So now let's go ahead and jump on to the next couple, which is them. Matt going into Dom's place, I automatically was like, and the crazy thing is, it wasn't until the after show and I watched him do like his little individual vlog, like individual interview of himself, talking about going into Mac's space and Dominique's place, and it started to make sense. His energy was, and I get it. Like, for one, apparently she's making it seem like he's one person on camera and he's one person off camera, which I can totally get. You know, they've said that a lot about, you know, and I just say that in the sense of, because obviously we don't see that. I don't really necessarily know that, but I get it as in the sense of that's not the first time we've heard that from some of these people on the show or whatever or whatnot. But I think now hearing him talk about seeing her place and throwing in the shade of like his space and him living in the basement or her place, you know, clearly she got her own place, you know, whatever, looks like a little condo, whatever, and it probably be a nice, his energy was definitely moving in a negative way, but as well off of how she treated him when he saw her place, when she saw his place. That's exactly what I was just like, yo, what, something is off. Like, what is up with y'all? What is going on with y'all? And he did not want to like check out her place, which is a lot of like what people do. Like, they feel like this usually is like a way to like get to know somebody, like how they live. Are they messy? You know, do they like this in their house? Do they keep their house? Do they like it decorated? Like, because clearly some people are minimalist, like whatever or whatever, whatnot. Even though Kirsten did kind of clear that up in the after show, but he was like, nah, I need to look around. You don't look around my space. And like, what I definitely felt like his energy was moving a lot on how she moved when she saw his place. And basically how she's been, what I kind of feel is bulldozing over everything and over him in this freaking relationship. And I get, and now that I understand it and I can kind of get it, you know, when she's talking about, I don't live in negativity. I don't like a negative person. And if that doesn't resonate with me, I kind of have to move, you know, from that. But it's kind of like, okay, if you were put in this relationship, if y'all were brought together to possibly, and you're sitting here looking at all these ways, how why y'all were placed together, because all these things he could benefit from you, okay then. Do a little bit more work. It's only been a week or two to get to know this guy. What makes him tick? What makes him so negative? Find other ways to deal with his negativity, because the way that you deal with it, Dom, is not it. The way that she deals with it and the way that she handles it, honestly, I feel like just makes him even more negative and be more negative. Because the way that she handled seeing his place and not even giving him a chance and all just analyzing him and going in on him and already basically once she seen his place, she was already done. She was already because of his negativity, and then seeing his place like he's not settled, Again, you don't know this man to be making all these assumptions, and yes, you feel like this. What classic house say? So like, I absolutely hated that they really tried to basically point the finger at Pastor Cal and her as soon as he even walked in the door. No, you got an explanation to make or something like that. She said like, excuse you? Who are you talking to? Don't be talking to Pastor Cal like that. He put y'all together, like he said, based on what y'all said about yourselves and what you wanted. So apparently it was something about y'all that weren't truthful in what you wanted or who you really are. And if we put y'all together and y'all weren't made to be together. Because it's not even to say that they don't always do like some people, right, I'll say like, yeah, you know, on paper, yeah, you know, we thought, and then they get together and you realize that's just not that. I at the end of the day, still at the end of the day, I put a lot of why these couples don't work on the couples. Ain't got nothing to do with these professionals. The professionals doing what they supposed to do. And clearly everybody ain't truthful and what they want. Everybody's not clear about their deal breakers or certain little things. You really need to be figuring out who you are and know who you are and what you want and what you truly don't want when going into this process, because y'all go through a rigmarole of stuff when they're going through this process, so that they are putting y'all with the best possible match. So you can only blame on what you told these people what you wanted, or even about yourselves. That pissed me off. So either way, they're in the kitchen having a whole to do about his negativity and his this, whatever. Either way, she did all that just for her to say that she's not going to stay, she's not going to move in. She's just going to go home and take a bath. And the way she said it and chuckled it, I just was like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Yeah, that's how it was, y'all. Cause she pissing me off. She's proven that she's young. She proven to me that she ain't willing to make these personal sacrifices. And like she said, I didn't expect to da da da. No, do you want a marriage or do you want what I can't even remember what you said. I don't even think I had wrote it down. Do you? Yes, I did. Yes, you did, Ashley. You wrote it down because it stuck to you. What did Pastor Cal say? Pastor Cal said, uh. Do you want marriage or do you want marriage on your terms? Because the fact of the matter is you're not going to get everything in one man, one woman. When it said that 80-20 rule, you're not going to get it. It's always going to be something that you don't necessarily, that may irk your nerve a little bit or just maybe, be cringy, whatever, whatever, whatever. But that whole 80% is enough to keep you in it and enough to make you stay. And the fact of the matter is y'all literally have, you've been going in on this guy from the get-go. And, you've not given him any type of grace at all. This is he is. And even when he is complaining about doing these things he wouldn't normally do because he's like this or like that, give him grace. Give him a positive affirmation in regards to that. But you know what? I definitely get that. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you, still putting yourself out there and doing it with us. Maybe next time we can do something that's more your pace. I ain't heard them do anything that was on his level, on his pace, anything that he wanted to do. He was straight doing what she wanted to do, going with everything that she freaking said. She was bam, 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 onto this guy. And yeah, maybe there's the Latina in her, the spiciness, whatever, whatever, whatever. No, please get out my face. Get out my face. You get out my face. Your mama get out my face because you ain't ready. You ain't ready. And maybe it's giving us why your relationships didn't work. I don't even want to talk about them anymore, y'all. That's where I'm at with it. Figure out where you're going to stay or you're not going to stay. That's where I'm at with it. Matt going to be who he is. And you're either going to accept it or you're not. You're either going to work with it or you're not. Because at the end of the day, right, the professionals did put y'all together and did put y'all together for reasons of y'all being the opposites of each other. So y'all can bring that out of each other. You can still do that without without making it seem like he's such a negative Nancy or whatever, whatever. And even if that's the case, how you deal with it and how you handle it is everything too. Grow up. Kirsten and Shaquille, I always just feel like I really don't never. Kirsten and Shaquille, I always just feel like y'all really don't even have nothing to dish on. Y'all, if y'all still here this long, I appreciate it. And make sure you throw me some hearts down below. Purple hearts preferably. Again, comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on what's going on with these particular couples. Getting back into it, like I said, with Kirsten and Shaquille. I just always feel like I really don't never have much to dish on them on. Besides the fact that, not even besides the fact, I really don't. So basically, she saw Shaq's place last episode. He is seeing her place this episode, which looks like nobody freaking lives there. It does. Matter of fact, he's saying it looks like a model home. No, models' home are even more decorated than that. Okay, stop playing. Stop playing with us, Shaq. You try to dare stay. I don't even have a nightstand, so I ain't sure about that. But I have stuff on the walls. I have, not every wall. Your living room's looking kind of big. Look. You can tell somebody live here though. I got all these kids and there's toys everywhere though. So it's no, her jank is giving real it's real minimalist as she says. But in her defense, she was basically saying on the after show that basically around the time when she moved in, and then COVID had hit right after, and then which I can definitely understand. Even after COVID, it seems like the production for furniture and just stuff like that is super delayed, and stuff was delayed for 6 to 9 months at a time or whatever or whatnot, and that played a factor as well into furnishing her place, and just stuff like that. But apparently she is a minimalist, so at the same time he was only going to get but so much out of her place or whatever or whatnot. So getting into it or whatever or whatnot, I guess, if anything, we just got to talking about, with Pastor Kelsey and them, she did actually respond, because I know I kept saying, she's going to say this, maybe production is twisting stuff up to make it seem like that. No, she is talking about that they don't have chemistry. But at the same time, she's backing it up, because then he's like, well, wait, when y'all don't have chemistry, but y'all are doing this, y'all are doing that. So I guess their chemistry maybe isn't at the level that she would like it to. And a big part of that is, that she's not a very vulnerable person. It really takes time for her to get up to that place. So while as well, I definitely feel like Shaquille sets that safe space for her, but right at the end of the day, she has to blindly trust that it is a safe space and that she can confide in this man who is her husband. So I guess ultimately, I'm going to try to give them some grace because y'all know I've been really coming for, Kirsten and, where they are, whether it's real, whether it's fake, because they are pretty, intimate in regards to like, I guess, like even affection, like touching each other. And he holds her in bed and forehead kisses, stuff like that. Clearly, they're no way from sex, not even kissing on the lips, I don't even think yet. So, but it does sound like that, she's starting to get into him and find things about him attractive. The whole sense of humor thing is just like, girl, that's just one of those things. That's like that 20% that I was talking about with Domynique and McKinley. It gets on your nerves. You don't necessarily like it. He may do it at an awkward time, but is it like an ultimate deal breaker? Do you really like yes? When it's time, just check him real quick, call his name, and then girl, just call it a day. It don't even really gotta be a thing. And that's all I got to say on them, y'all. Because like I said, it really wasn't much to really go off of, on them. So we're gonna move on, which would be our last couple of, Eris and Jasmine. And, Eris gets to see Jasmine's place or whatever, whatnot, which is technically, with her parents. And she was one of the ones that was just like, I think on the after show last week or the after party last week was basically saying like, basically Domynique did need to give McKinley, a little bit of grace because one, she, that was her parents, she lived with her parents and, just certain like just little things as far as like being settled or living on your own or just like whatever because she could very well be intimidated going over to Eris's house and seeing this big gigantic thing like, sir, what? Like, so, a lot of their stuff. Oh yeah, and then of course okay. So let's be clear. So it does sound like I think she does have technically 3 dogs, but mainly maybe one dog is like her dog, and then her dog, which is a girl dog, had babies. So that's where all these extra 9 dogs come from. And then she has like the snickerdoodle poodle or like something like that, whatever they call them. So like they're the big, like brown, like little extra furry, fluffy things that look like teddy bears. They're so stinking cute. Eris was all for the puppy. He was all for the puppy. He's like, I can handle this, like, but only one dog is going with them to move in. So she's like, you can relax a little bit, but I do kind of like want you to get used to like me, like that's her hand. I think she rescues dogs, just takes care of dogs. She has the coaching, like, and even then, like Pastor Kyle was getting into the things that they did like about each other because that did come up about the whole situation about the attraction there. And yes, like his wife Jasmine is clearly like attracted to him and really into him, and she wants that back. Like she's like, yeah, like I want him to rip my freaking clothes off. Like I want to be desired. I want to be into him. I want him obviously get out of this space of what you're used to. You clearly can see, why they matched you. These are the, things that you like about this woman. Like you're already like, if we were to have kids, if something was to happen to me, I know ultimately that the kids will be good because of this woman and who she is. So they are, intimately, well, I can say intimately, but they have, they're having physical touch. So it's not like it's completely off the table. And what Pastor Cal kind of like bring up is maybe it's the actual process, that possibly is having, this feelings because naturally you want to move how you want to move and everything about this show in a way is staged. Like interactions with everybody and, even maybe y'all interactions and y'all having certain conversations, like all that is staged or in better terms, produced. You have a producer that's basically telling you, all right, so talk about this. All right, so we're going to do this now. And blah, blah, blah. He's basically saying, for some people, that can be off-putting or just like, when you're wanting to do and move things on your own time and at your own pace or whatever or whatnot. So I appreciate him just obviously understanding, but as well just pushing that forward to be like, what can we do to, move y'all into that pace? And even if it's just starting with, what do we like about each other? What do we like about this person? I definitely don't feel like it was hard to come out of either of them, especially looking at him being that he's the one that's not fully, I don't want to say all the way in yet, but that attraction thing is what's still keeping him like at bay. So I'm apprehensive. Next week, we're not very far. Y'all know after they go ahead and move in, they kind of like have the housewarming and have their family and their friends over, and seeing this cousin and her negativity. She's not coming. And of course, that negativity is going to end up coming up and spiraling, into Jasmine. And like, yeah, like, let's go ahead and address this. Like, she basically said that I'm a fake person. I basically put on for this whole conversation. And then now she's still giving off this energy. Like, I'm full married right now. It's only been a couple of weeks. But have you gone complaining to her? Like, that is the person that, if anybody, I hope Eris is not going and complaining to and telling any of his marriage business. Because that's going to be the one who's going to be like, I told you so. I told you. She's already saying, so you still want to stay married? Get out of here. Just like I'm about to get out of here, y'all, because next week I might be on one again next week. We just never know. So I really hope y'all enjoyed this. I hope that you stayed on this long. If you did, I really appreciate it. Throw me some likes. It's really important. I really, that really supports my channel. And I know you want to do that. So as always, I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next recap.